Okay, Year 9, I'm going to go over the work on perpendicular and parallel lines that we did in class today, just in case some people didn't get it or some people might have been away. Now, the first thing we need to understand is that when we have parallel lines, as you can see here, when you have parallel lines, the gradients are equal. And when we have perpendicular lines here, the gradients, when you multiply them by each other, equal -1. Now, I'm not going to prove that. I've put a proof on the Google Classroom that you can look up because it takes a bit of a while and I want to get straight into the work. But there is a proof of why that happens on Google Classroom. Now, the thing with this, all that means to find the perpendicular gradient, you just take the negative reciprocal. And all that means is you flip it and change the sign. Now, as long as you understand that, once you've got the gradient, you can find the equations of lines quite easily. So let's go down here and have a look at some of the questions in here. And we're going to jump straight into question 4. I'm not going to do all of them, I'm only going to do a couple. So what we need to establish, we're going to be using the gradient, and we're going to be using this formula, y minus y1 equals m outside of x minus x1, which is a point gradient formula. And as long as we've got a gradient and a point, an x value and a y value, we can just sub them in and we can write the equation of the line. So here we go. I'm just going to do 3 of these. So 4a. Y equals 2x plus 3. And the question says, find the equation line that's parallel through 0, 1. Well, the gradient of this line, because it's written in the y-intercept form, is 2. So m equals 2, and my point is 0, 1. So what I do is I write y minus the y value, which is 1, equals 2 outside of x minus the x value, which is 0. Y minus 1 equals 2x. Now, even though this would be better to write this in y-intercept form, I'm going to write it in general form because that's the way it's going to find it most easiest for you. And the x has to be positive, so I'm going to move all of this to the other side. So I'm going to get 0. Now, if I move that, I've got to minus the y because it's plus y. And I'm going to add the 1. And there it is written in general form. Let's have a go at C. Again, they give me an equation, y equals minus x plus 3. Y equals minus x plus 3. It's written in the form that I like. And it goes through 0, 5. So, my gradient is -1. Remember, there's a 1 there. And my point is 0, 5. You're giving me too many zeros. Wish they gave me, hopefully, they're all 0. I don't want to find all 0. I need some other ones. I'll do one from 6 in a minute. No, because that's, I'll write a different point. So here we go. Y minus the y value, 5, equals m minus 1 outside of x minus the x value, which is 0. Y minus 5 equals negative x. And this time, I have to take the x over the other side because it's negative, so I'm going to add it. And I get x plus y minus 5 equals 0. Now I'm going to make one up because these are too easy. And they keep giving me, this is actually, if you're smart, you'll realise that's a y-intercept. Anyway, let's take one. Let's go, this is a made-up one. Y equals 2/3 x minus 3. And let's send it through the point, the line that we need, 1, 2. So the gradient must be the same. So m must equal 2/3. And my point that this new line is going to go through is 1, 2. So again, I just use the equation, y minus the y value, 2, equals the gradient, 2 on 3, x minus the x value, 1. Now the temptation here is to multiply the 2/3 through the brackets, but please don't do that. Multiply the 3 across to both of these things. So you get 3y minus 6. And on this side, multiply the 2 by these things. So you get 2x minus 4. And again, this time, this is positive, so we need to bring all the other things over. So I get 0 is 2x, and I'm going to minus that 3y. I've already got minus 4, and I'm going to add 6. 0 equals 2x minus 3y plus 2. I'm going to do one more like that. So let's take one more. Let's make it a negative. Y equals negative 2, negative a half, x plus 1. Let's get the equation of the line negative 1, 3. So we want the line that's parallel to that through negative 1, 3. Well, my gradient is negative a half because it's parallel. And my point is negative 1, 3. So again, I just am using the formula y minus the y value, 3, equals m, negative a half, x minus the x value, negative 1. Well, let's multiply the 2 across here, and I will get 2y minus 6. So I multiplied the 2 by that and by that. And before I multiply this minus 1 through, I've got x plus 1 in there because that's a double negative there. So I get 2y minus 6, and now I'm going to multiply the minus through here, minus x, minus 1. This time, all this is negative, or the x is negative, so I'm bringing it over. X, I add the x, plus 2y. Now I've got minus 6, and I'm going to add that 1. So my final answer is x plus 2y minus 5 equals 0. So it's pretty easy. As long as you've got a gradient and an x and a y value. Well, let's have a look at some of the ones here. I was hoping for one that would, anyway. Let's go, because they're giving me all the ones. So I'll do 5a, and then I'll make up some. So this time, we've got y equals 3x minus 2. That's through the point 0, 3. Well, I've got my point 0, 3. This gradient equals 3, but I need the perpendicular gradient. So I flip it and I change the sign. So now I've got a point and a gradient. So y minus the y value, 3, equals negative a third x minus the x value, 0. I'm going to multiply the 3 across here. I'm going to multiply the negative 1 over here. So I'm going to get 3y minus 9 equals negative x, and that's 0. The x is negative, so I'm bringing it over to the other side, and I'm going to get x plus 3y minus 9 equals 0. So let's just take another one now. Let's take y equals, I'm going to make this up, negative a third. Well, let's make it a half, because otherwise we'll just keep getting, negative a half x minus 3. And let's send it through the point 1, 1. Well, no, we'll change that up so you can see that I'm actually making something different. Let's go 2, 1. Well, first of all, we've got a point. It's 2, 1. The gradient of this line is negative a half, but I need the perpendicular gradient. So I turn it upside down, 2 on 1, and I change the sign. And 2 on 1 means I've just got a gradient of 2. Well, y minus the y value is 1 equals m 2 x minus the x value, which is 2. There's no bottom here, so I'm going to leave that alone. I'm just going to have 2x minus 4. Because the x is positive, I'm moving all this over, and I'll get 0 equals 2x. I'm going to minus that y, because there's a positive sign in front of it. So 2x minus y. I'm going to add that 1, so minus 4 plus 1. That gives me 0 equals 2x minus y minus 3. Let's do one more. Let's make it positive. Y equals 3/5 x plus 2. And let's send it through, I don't know, negative 1, 3. Well, the point's pretty easy. I've got negative 1, 3. The gradient of this line is 3 on 5. But I need the gradient that is perpendicular. So I flip it, 5 on 3, and make it negative. Now we know that's 1 2/3, but we're not going to write it because it's much better as an improper fraction. So y minus the y value, 3, equals m minus 5 on 3, x minus the x value, minus 1, but we know a minus minus becomes a plus. Now, I'm going to multiply the 3 by these two things over here, which gives me 3y minus 9. And I'm going to multiply the negative 5 over here, which gives me minus 5x minus 5. Well, the x is negative, so I'm going to bring all this over the other side. So I'm going to get 5x plus 3y minus 9 plus 5 equals 0. Tidy that up. 5x plus 3y minus 4 equals 0. So, in summary, please remember, you're using this information. That's gold, that point gradient formula. As long as you've got a gradient and a point, you can find the equation of the line. And remember, if the gradients are parallel, they're the same. And if the lines are perpendicular, if the gradients are parallel, if the lines are the same, if the lines are parallel, the gradients are equal. And if the lines are perpendicular, they multiply out to -1. You just have to turn it upside down and change the sign. Good luck.